Jackson wiped down the counter of his small restaurant on Station Xerxes 7, humming an old Earth tune his grandmother used to sing. The interstellar trading post wasn't glamorous, but it paid the bills and gave him a chance to share human cuisine with the galaxy's countless species. Most aliens found human food interesting. Some found it inedible. A few found it dangerous, but Jackson didn't care. Cooking was his passion. The door chimed, and he looked up to see a young woman. Or at least, she appeared human at first glance. Petite, with striking silver hair that shimmered under the fluorescent lights and eyes that held an unusual amber gleam. She wore a plain traveler's cloak, but something about her posture suggested nobility. "Welcome to Jackson's kitchen," he said with a warm smile. "What can I get you?" The girl, she couldn't have been more than 20 standard years, approached the counter hesitantly. I've never tried human food before," she admitted, her voice soft but carrying an odd resonance, like wind through canyons. "First timer? Perfect." Jackson's eyes lit up. "Let me make you something special." Her name was Amelia, she told him as he prepared a simple pasta carbonara. Nothing too overwhelming for a first experience. She watched with intense fascination as he worked, her amber eyes tracking every movement. The way he heated the pan, how he whisked the eggs, the precise moment he added the cheese. "You do this with such reverence," Amelia observed. Jackson laughed. "My grandmother used to say that cooking is love made visible. Every dish tells a story." When he placed the steaming plate before her, Amelia stared at it like it was a sacred artifact. Her first bite was cautious, but then her eyes widened. "This is extraordinary. How do humans create such complex flavors?" "Practice, patience, and a little bit of soul," Jackson replied. She returned the next day. And the day after that. Each visit, Jackson taught her something new. How to properly dice an onion. The importance of seasoning in layers. Why some dishes needed time to develop their flavors. Amelia proved to be a remarkably fast learner, her movements becoming more confident with each lesson. "In my realm, we simply consume for sustenance," she said one afternoon while learning to make bread. Her hands worked the dough with surprising strength. "Food is fuel, nothing more." "That's sad," Jackson said honestly. "Food should be an experience. It connects us to our history, our culture, our loved ones. Every recipe carries memories." Amelia was quiet for a moment, her hands stilling in the dough. "You speak of food as if it's art." "It is art," Jackson insisted. "Just because you can eat it doesn't make it less beautiful." Weeks passed. Amelia's skills grew exponentially. She could now prepare dishes that Jackson had only taught her once, adapting them with creative instincts he hadn't expected. But more than that, she'd begun to understand the philosophy behind human cooking. The patience, the creativity, the willingness to experiment and sometimes fail. "Why do you do this?" she asked one evening as they prepared a complex Moroccan tagine together. "You could charge me for these lessons. You're teaching me secrets of your craft." Jackson shrugged. "Because you want to learn. And because teaching someone who genuinely cares about food, that's its own reward." One night, as Jackson was closing up, a ship unlike anything he'd ever seen descended upon the station. It was massive, ancient-looking, covered in scales that seemed to shift between metallic and organic. Armed figures emerged, clearly guards, followed by a being that made Jackson's blood run cold. The Dragon Emperor. Everyone on the station knew the stories. The ruler of the Draconic realm, one of the three great powers in this sector of space. A being of immense power who could reduce planets to ash, and walking beside him, looking uncomfortable in elaborate royal robes, was Amelia. Jackson's heart sank as they approached his restaurant. "This is the human?" the Emperor asked, his voice like grinding tectonic plates. His form was massive, barely contained in a humanoid shape, scales glinting beneath synthesized skin. "Father, please," Amelia said softly. "This is Jackson. He's been teaching me." The Emperor's eyes, pure gold and ancient beyond measure, fixed on Jackson. "You taught my daughter your people's ways. Without asking permission. Without tribute. Without even knowing who she was." Jackson swallowed hard, but stood straight. "I taught someone who wanted to learn, sir. That's all I saw, someone curious about cooking." A tense silence filled the air. The guard's hands moved toward weapons. Then, Amelia spoke. "Father, he taught me something our realm has forgotten. That creation can be an act of love. That patience and care can transform simple ingredients into something that brings joy. He gave this freely, asking nothing in return. The emperor studied Jackson for a long moment. Then, surprisingly, he gestured to the kitchen. "Show me." And so, with the dragon emperor of the entire draconic realm watching, Jackson cooked. He made the same simple carbonara he'd first served Amelia, working with the same care and attention he always did. When the emperor tasted it, something shifted in his ancient eyes. "Humans," he said finally, "create beauty from the mundane. You take basic survival and transform it into ritual, into meaning." He looked at his daughter, who stood proudly beside the counter. "You have taught my daughter well, human. Not just technique, but philosophy." Before Jackson could respond, the emperor continued. "We dragons live for millennia. We accumulate power, territory, gold. But we have forgotten how to find joy in simple things." He turned to Amelia. "You will return to our realm and teach others this art. And you," he addressed Jackson, "will be remembered as the human who reminded us that strength alone does not make a civilization great." As they departed, Amelia embraced Jackson quickly. "Thank you," she whispered, "for seeing me as just a student." Jackson watched their ship disappear into the stars, a small smile on his face. Sometimes, he thought, the most powerful thing a human could offer wasn't technology or weapons, that it was simply the reminder that life was meant to be savored.